Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Ahmie Baum, who's the CEO and founder of Interchange Capital Partners. Ahmie, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you. I want to learn about how you serve your clients, but get us started with what your entrepreneurial journey has been like up to this point in your career. What got you into financial services?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I came from a family that didn't have a financial safety net. I didn't realize it until until I had gotten into college, and my father asked me, "Well, who's going to pay for it?" And so I had to work my way through college, and ended up purely by accident. I was running a restaurant with a person who became a good friend, and his father was a stockbroker at E.F. Hutton and said, "I got you a job." I said, "That's great. What's in E.F. Hutton? What do you do?" And that was the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. I remember sitting in the interview in 1979, and the regional director asked me, "Well, what's your weakness?" And I said, "Well, very candidly, I don't know anything about your business, but I can learn anything, so how good's your training program?" He loved that response and hired me, and I then began a process of recognizing that what I really found was, rather than being an employee of a major Wall Street firm, which is exactly what I was, I saw it as a franchise opportunity, and really began that entrepreneurial journey of looking out there and trying to figure out, how can I differentiate the offerings? How can I create more and more value for people, as well as creating some freedoms from them from a variety of different areas, as well as freedoms for myself. So that was the journey, and it had a number of iterations. And we fast forward to my 65th birthday, which was in 2020. On June 12th, after 42 years working for Wall Street, I launched Interchange Capital Partners, where we became customers of Wall Street. We opened up our independent advisory firm where we truly could act as fiduciaries and really go out there. And when I say be a customer of Wall Street, it's really then looking at what the problem needed to be solved for our business owners and our clients, and then find the best solution wherever that resided. And that was very refreshing, and again, was able to move quicker because we didn't have all the other constraints around working for the big banks and the big firms out there. So that was my journey.
That's a great journey, because you bring the power of Wall Street's, expertise and status and prestige. It can now bring it down to the business owners you work with. And one thing that I thought that was neat, the way you laid that out, is as a fiduciary, you have the benefit of having access to the best of Wall Street, not being constrained with just the firm that you're with. So talk a little bit about the feeling of being able to listen to what that business owner needs, assess what is best for them without thinking of your back pocket or being constrained with, well, I can only offer these products, so I guess here's the best one for you.
Yeah, well, I think the best answer is when we started to recognize that the business owner was the market that we wanted to work with, and we recognized that there were a significant amount of issues to help a business owner create a successful exit. And we started to list all of those, and I started to write some work around that. And I submitted that to the compliance department at my previous firm, and I got it back, and everything was redlined. And it basically said, not the function of a financial advisor, not the function of a financial advisor. And so I think the biggest difference is that since we are helping business owners with the inevitable, they require expertise and they require help and assistance in areas that are not under Wall Street. So there's some business consulting, project management work, depending upon where they are, that could never be done because everything had to somehow be put back into some kind of an investment or financial planning set up from a compliance perspective when you're working in a Wall Street firm. So that's probably the biggest breath of fresh air is we can really help that business owner with the inevitable, and that is the liquidity or succession or exit of their business.
Yeah, and the age-old saying of, well, that's just not our job, or we've always done it this way, seeing not the job of a financial planner would feel like you've got handcuffs on. And so now you're able to act as a type of a business coach in a sense, because most of the time a business owner would come to a financial professional and say, help me with my finances. They say, here's this, do this, have a nice day. But you're looking well ahead, years and years ahead to this succession exit plan, saying, okay, well, let's talk about what that looks like for you. And there's a myriad ways of what that would look like. And depending on how they want to structure their exit of the business, now you can sit down and say, well, to achieve that, here's the deal. So it's like when you're working with a pre-retired couple, let's talk about what retirement looks like as a couple. That's almost like being a life coach. Well, now you're acting like a business coach that then you put a different hat on and say, okay, now to achieve this, here's some financial moves you can consider.
Yeah, the reality is the bulk of their net worth is tied up in their business. So they may go to Wall Street, they may be working with a financial advisor with the money that they've been able to take out, but when you look at their balance sheet, the balance sheet has the largest component of their balance sheets in many cases is the value of the business. So how do you go about unlocking and maximizing the value of the business? How do you mitigate the taxes? How do you turn around and make sure that you can cash flow your life once you're through the business? And how do you stay in control? Those are the issues that we work with. So some of them certainly have financial planning and financial advisory pieces to them, but there's a whole series of other things around business, mergers and acquisitions, helping business owners create more value, helping them remove value detractors from it. So that kind of work is really important, and you have to have that foundation before you can ultimately sit down with a financial advisor and figure out that cash flow portion. But it needs to be worked together. It requires for that success collaborative approach. So our expertise around all of that, from financial advisory and business consulting around that, really can support the business owner, the family, the employees, and the ownership, because the business owner, this structure, I always look and say, why is this so complicated? Well, it's complicated because you're dealing with three different entities as they merge together. You're dealing with the family, you're dealing with the business, and you're dealing with the ownership. And each one of those have different criteria, different priorities, and yet you're trying to get to that inevitable. I keep saying that word because many people, unfortunately, don't recognize that it's inevitable. And if you do the work in advance, the outcomes are significantly greater in terms of what I mentioned earlier, maximizing value, mitigating the tax hit that you're going to definitely going to have to deal with, being able to cash flow your life, and then you staying in control of the process. So the sooner the better, obviously, and having a team to support you and those other entities so that we could shepherd that through, because this thing takes time. If done, it's not something, the most successful exits and successions are started years in advance for that. I always say that succession and exit planning is just really good business. So you really want to run your business so that when you get the knock on the door, it's already attractive to buyers. Usually what happens is the knock on the door and everyone's rushing around, and it's not necessarily as attractive as it could have been had you done some of that pre-planning, pre-work around that.
Well, I love the phrase you use, it's inevitable, and I think that business owners need to be in control of the inevitability, meaning something's going to pop up. Something's going to happen in the business to cause it to finally, cease, whatever that might be. You want to be the one that's in control of it and make plans years in advance so that you have the most options and it's optimized the best way. You think about like real estate. If you decide to sell your home and you said, okay, tell me, Mr. or Ms. Real Estate Agent, what should I be doing to get it the best possible, price? Well, let's work on curb appeal. Let's make sure it looks good from the outside. Let's go inside and make sure the foundation, the paint, all of this stuff. And then now let's put it on the block in the MLS. Same with a business. So let's think ahead and make sure the curb appeal numbers and things like that, internal structures, employees, vendors, all of these things. Well, it's not just a decision, let's sell the business or let's sell it or have my family take over. Where is it that you first start? If you have someone that says, I want to exit in 5 years or a nice period of time, not 5 days or 5 months, but a nice period of time, where is it that you're going to start looking at to then work with them on?
Yeah, the first part of it is clarity. We need to get the clarity. We need to help them get the clarity. So the clarity around what the current state of affairs look like from both the personal side and the business side. So there's a tremendous amount of work in identifying and quantifying. That's the first phase of our process. We have to identify everything. We need to quantify everything so we can begin to, so that you mentioned something, inadvertently that said, well, what do you do when someone knows they want to exit in 5 years? Sometimes they don't have that answer. That's one of the first questions. When would you like to exit? So, once you do the identify and quantify aspect, and that takes, again, looking at all the books, looking at all the employment contracts, looking at everything, trying to help them build out that bigger picture, that bigger future. Who do they want the business to go to? Do they want it to go? Is there a family member? Is there a management group? Is it an outside buyer? How much money do they need so that they know what the number has to look like? And then once you identify and quantify, then you can begin to build out that plan. And then you move to the second stage, which is maximize and protect. Because through that process, we just don't know. We talk about the inevitable, but unfortunately, sometimes the inevitable is health and passing on. And if you haven't protected during the process, you can create all kinds of, I like to, unfortunately, I don't like it, but it's the truth that mistakes made in this process have generational consequences. So once you identify and quantify, there's a whole body of work around that. Then you move to maximize value, protect, the enterprise. And then finally, you move into the transition and transaction. And too often what happens is the people come to us and they say, well, I got a knock on the door. So they're already a transition and transaction, and they haven't identified and quantified. They haven't done maximizing, protecting, and they therefore are rushing the process and don't end up getting maximum value, ending up paying too much in taxes, and in many cases are shocked at the amount of money they got and don't have enough to cash flow their lives, and they are way out of control of the process. So if they can follow our recipe and recognize that the sooner the better, this is one of those areas where you do not do it yourself. This is one of those areas where you truly need a collaborative team of experts, and most business owners don't have that. They have separate siloed conversations with their legal team, their tax team, their banking, their protection team. So everything is separate with the business owner in the middle. That's a terribly inefficient model. You really need to be able to have everyone sitting around the proverbial table talking about what are the potential best outcomes, where are the pitfalls. So you have a vetted attractive plan of action, and then you need someone to be able to help keep that team moving collaboratively so that you can get on with what you do. A lot of times people don't do this work because they just don't have the time. They're busy running their businesses. They're busy raising their families. They're busy doing things in the community. And this is very necessary, but it takes time. So hiring an organization like Interchange Capital to be able to work with you basically gives you more time and, more importantly, handles the largest financial transaction of your life and gets it done in the way that you would want it to be done.
Yeah, I love it, and I love the spot on your website. I'm looking at this here because it's just so clear. Because I love clarity. That's important. You need that before you can understand. But you say your financial future is a complex interchange with you in the middle. You've got your wealth, your family, your business, your future, and you are in the middle. So I just think, Ahmie, that this is so spectacular that you've taken your, Wall Street experience and bringing it now to business owners. What's the best way someone listening to this might be interested in kind of putting them in the middle and learning how your team can come around them to support their pending, upcoming exit succession? How can they best learn more and reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, we have a second opinion service that we offer, and the best way to reach us is going to our website, Interchange CP, Interchange Capital Partners. We couldn't get that, so it's interchangecp.com. And then click on the link for the second opinion, click on the link to contact us, shoot us an email. That's the easiest way. Say that they've listened to me on Influential Entrepreneurs and they'd like to further the conversation. And from there, we will start to build that bigger future for them and help them get the clarity, help them get the understanding, and then ultimately build out an action plan so that they can accomplish that. So it's the best way, as I said, is www.interchange, C as in capital, P as in partners.com. And there's all kinds of ways. All good websites have all kinds of ways to contact us.
Yes,
and
excellent.
That's the best way so we can start the discovery process, start building out that bigger future for them.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Ahmie. It was a real pleasure having you on.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.